Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-news.com, and if you remember a few weeks ago, Mike had his Jar of Destiny beer. It was an American Lite Lager. He's saying this is a follow-up to it. He's not telling me what it is, but clearly, it's within the same realm as an American Lite Lager. So I'm hoping he can tell me more about it because, you know, the algorithm needs to know. What is this video all about?
So this is something that so I took the concept of an American Lite Lager, which was fine, and I think a couple more rounds of brewing it and tweaking it would be great. That idea of an adjunct light lager, super brisk, super clean, great, love it. But I prefer like my cream ale or really light blonde ale to get there. But you know, lager yeasts and brewing lagers are becoming so much more accessible in the homebrewing community now. And we've been dabbling with it. Jar of Destiny's helping us out with that, but we just keep playing with it too. So what I want to do is take that American Lite Lager and what would it look like from a homebrew, craft brew, if you will, standpoint, right? So light, crisp, ready to go, a slight lager character, and maybe just something still light and crisp, but slightly more interesting than just straight up American Lite Lager. So I'm calling this an American Homebrew Lager.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
Homebrew Lager.
this one happens to be 50%. The base malt's 50-50 Breeze two-row brewer's malt, which I really like that stuff, and 50% Pils, just American Pilsner malt, with just 4 ounces of aromatic malt, just to put something in the background and give a little bit of whatever and potentially affect some of that beautiful head retention. And then pretty simple, the hop character at 60 minutes. This is 1 ounce of Willamette. And then with 10 minutes to go in the whirlpool, because that's what you do as a homebrewer, another 1 ounce of Willamette. And the yeast on this, to tie it together to the American Lite Lager, and really modernize American homebrew lager, this is on a repitch of NovaLager, which we haven't really done before. So
No.
I've been trying to find ways to time my brewing and beers finishing, and I happen to maybe make it all work this time. So I wanted to put this on that fresh NovaLager yeast cake, see if I could get an even better ferment. So this guy started off at 1050, went all the way down to 1009.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Without any adjunct, right? Without any extra coaxing. Fermented it at about, this time I fermented it a little cooler. It was out there at 60 degrees in my fermentation fridge in the garage for like 2 weeks, and then I cranked it up, let it just sit at 70 degrees for another 2 weeks. So it just finished right out. So it's about 5.5% ABV.
That's great. Yeah, I would say the big difference to me with this American Homebrew Lager versus your American Lite Lager, outside of, you know, the body, what you really tried to get as light as possible for the Jar of Destiny beer, but this is the hop expression is much more prominent, right?
Yep.
And didn't really Willamette, huh? Really?
Yep. But I don't think it's overpowering. I think it's just enough for it to stay. My palate is certainly drifted. I still don't crave like super hoppy bitter beers, but I do need a certain amount of hop balance in almost all the beer that I brew. I think this delivers a little bit more.
This is like Noble times, 5.
It's
a real strong, herbal, but almost like teetering on minty.
It's
like,
got that zingy.
There's like more of a zing to it. Yeah.
Without the zippiness of like what's in the light lager.
Yeah.
But the other thing about this one, right, is that in an American Lite Lager, like we said before, that first whiff, those first couple sips, it's like beer. Like it hits the beer gene in your brain. But then after that, it just sort of turns into a refreshing, cool liquid. Doesn't really, none of that sticks with you, doesn't carry with you. This, I think, every sip, because there is a little bit more hop character, you still get that presence every time you drink it.
Definitely. Right? Yeah, absolutely right. Like no palate adjustment needed here. And it keeps coming at you.
Yeah.
I mean, the head retention is superb. The color's great. Say that the clarity probably needs
a couple more weeks in like a lagering mode. It would definitely be there. I was going to throw some gelatin in there, but I didn't want to like maybe mute the hop profile a little bit,
No.
at least at this stage.
At this stage, no.
in its development life cycle.
And it's super clean. The fermentation is, it's hard to say. I think that because I have the fortune of having that light lager a few weeks after we put the video up on YouTube, that really cleared out and really cleaned out. This is, you can tell that this second pitch of the NovaLager, you know, stronger ferment, cleaner ferment.
Yeah.
And it seems like this, outside of the clarity thing, I don't think there's really much conditioning you need for the flavor or the aroma, for sure.
That's one of the things I like about NovaLager. It's a pretty neutral flavored lager yeast, more neutral than the other stuff. It just sort of seems to take a back seat to everything else. So, which is why almost that there is that like really bright minty expression. It's like on the back of your throat right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's really kind of cool.
All right.
I mean, call it. It really is sort of a American blonde ale without fruity or grapefruit type hop expression, but then with a lager yeast.
With a lager
we can
yeast.
call it a lager because it is, and cool.
Well, we'll see if this American homebrew lager style takes off. You know,
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
Maybe in the
Category 72B.
I was going to say, like in the 2027,
Yeah, exactly.
whatever update. It's like, well, there's now this new thing. Well, these brew dudes who are the keeper of the flame of all types of beer styles, because if you go to even your local brewery down the street, you know, if they don't have 5 IPAs on the board, then why would anyone go to see them, right? But that's why we have to keep it going at home so that these styles, well, the classic styles don't go out of fashion, and then also we can start our own based on like some homebrew history.
Homebrew history, baby.
I love the malt bill. Like, yeah, we'll do some of this, some of that, some aromatic, because you need something. Like, no, you don't. Homebrew.
It's the spirit of homebrewing, right?
It's the spirit of homebrew lager.
Keeping it alive.
Well, this was a success, and certainly a nice transition from the American Lite Lager into something new. And you know, I would say that the repitch of the NovaLager was a success too.
Yep.
Another beer from another beer. That's
sweet.
Great. So thanks for that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Certainly lagering at home, brewing lagers at home is easier than ever, especially if you have a fridge or two, like my friend Mike has. That makes things a lot easier. But then the same thing, like these yeast strains that can handle, you know, more room temperatures, we're getting great lager-like beers, if not, you know, straight-on lager expressions in our beers. So it's worth checking out. Check out these new strains where you can brew lager beers without refrigeration. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to our channel. We do this kind of thing every single week. For John and Mike, brew-news.com. Brew on.
Cheers.